John, just to go back to the Denmark debacle, 5-1 at home.
Yeah.
In a game that was a playoff for the World Cup. At half-time, we were behind, but we were by no means out of the game.
No.
He took David Myler and Harry Arthur off at half-time and put on Aidan McGeady and Wes Hoolahan. So he took two, essentially, if you like, defensive midfield players with a bit of defensive attitude and knowledge, and put on Aidan McGeady, who wouldn't have any, and Wes, who's a playmaker. Now, taking them two off left the space for Eriksson in front of our back four. The shield was gone, and he made hay, scored a hat-trick. It seems that since that night, O'Neill has blamed Myler for that. Myler was off the pitch.
We don't know if he's played. He certainly he hasn't played. I don't know if he's played since.
No.
I tell you what worried me on that particular night is that you would, in one of the most important matches we ever played.
Yes, it was.
Right?
Yeah.
You would have to assume that the manager is going to pick the best team to win that particular match.
Yeah.
Now, whether we agree with that particular selection or not, you'd have to say, well, that's his best team going out there. 45 minutes later, there were dramatic changes.
He panicked.
Well, it went on a wing and a prayer. Had to, Emmy, because if that's your best team at 45 minutes beforehand, and at half-time you change two dramatic changes in it to lose 5-1, and we're only a goal down. There's lots of teams have come back from 2-1 down to go on and win the match. And I think what Martin said, actually, well, I did that because we were looking for goals. Well, we were looking for goals before the match. Yeah. So, I think he just threw them on. Through the two players, Wes Hoolahan and McGeady. And we paid the price for it. We got a hiding because the whole balance of the team was gone.
Yes.
But Martin didn't accept any responsibility for that. In his interview with Tony Donoghue afterwards, he didn't. Anyway, but that's. I think that was a very, very big, huge night, as we know, for us, and to lose it the way we lost it, I don't think we've recovered from it, Eamon.
Liam, I think that was a seminal moment for O'Neill, who made a grotesque mistake with those substitutions, and we haven't really recovered our confidence from then, and it's hard to look at the decision he made and even try to put yourself in his shoes. What was he trying to achieve?
What, on that particular half-time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he threw caution to the wind far too early. Yeah, I think we needed Wes Hoolahan. I think Hoolahan should have started the game.
Yeah.
We were all of that opinion. But to put two players on and to sacrifice the midfield completely, I think he blamed the two midfield players, Myler and Arthur, on the fact that Eriksson had got that goal on the edge of the box, I think his decision to take them off, he looked back on that now and say, well, I shouldn't have done that, But I also think, Eamon, the quality of player, it's something that Martin's going to use in his defence, and we have to also recognise that the quality has just disappeared in the last few years from the Irish team. We're struggling to find a centre forward. Shane Long is the best option we've got, and his goal scoring record in the last two years at club level and at international level is really, really poor. It's amazing, really, that it's so poor.
Yeah.
And you have to admit to these things, and it's something that I keep going back to. We have to find out the reason why we were just not producing quality players anymore, and that's something that has to be looked at.
Yes.
Now that process has to start now, and John Delaney's in charge of things at the FAI, and he really has to have a review of what's gone on in that regard, and get people in who know what's been going on, and take a long, hard look at it and see if we can improve it whilst we're trying to qualify for the next European Championship.
Yeah, I come.
That process has to start. Our two best players in the last couple of seasons for Martin O'Neill, I think, have been James McLean and Shane Dunphy, and we've got them because the lads wanted to play for us. But where are the kids from Dublin? Where are the kids from Cork? Just where have they gone?
Yeah,
we need to ask that question.
Yeah, we do. And
well, I think that's a big question, Liam. I think there obviously it needs to be looked at. I have my own view on it. I think there's lots of different things have happened. But we're talking about the present, Damon. Like if you took Northern Ireland, like what great players have Northern Ireland got?
Yeah,
you can only make the best of what you have at the moment, Liam. And we haven't got the best, but we're not making the best of them. I mean, if you take all the players, if you take the players from Northern. That's what we're talking about. The present,
John. But Northern Ireland have had 4 games in the Nations League as well, and they lost every one of them.
Yeah, but they didn't play like us, Liam. They didn't play like us.
Yeah, but maybe it's because they haven't got the players. And we need to. Okay, you say that's for the future, John, but the future needs to start now.
No, I've no doubts. I've no problem with that. I've no problem about that, Liam. I've no problem about that.
Why.
Yeah, I know.
Now, I would agree. I would agree that the way the Irish team are playing at the moment is very, very worrying under this management team.
The thing, there's two separate issues, and I think that's what the point is, John. But I do think, John, that Liam's right, that the future has to start now with an analysis of what's wrong with our production line.
I agree with that entirely.
Yeah.
I agree with that
entirely.
Well,
okay, but that's an important point to make. But there is another important point to make, which I'd suggest to you. I know you agree with me, and to Liam. Between the game at the Aviva against Northern Ireland at the weekend, and last Thursday, and the game in Denmark last night. I'll put this point to Liam. Liam, the flaws in the system, the isolation of the front player, the lack of being compact going forward and defending, the fact that the back 4 or back 5 never pushed the midfield players on to support the player and get a press on the ball in the opponent's half. It was exactly the same last night and wrong as it was against Northern Ireland in the Aviva last week. Nothing had been done by way of remedying that. That's, to me, a terrible indictment of Martin O'Neill.
Well, I can't argue with it, Eamon, because I didn't see the Irish team. I think once they strung more than four passes together, and that was because we were knocking it around at the back, and the Danes on that particular occasion didn't press, didn't pressurise the ball, and we knocked it about 4 or 5 times. Every time it went to 2 passes, you kind of knew that we were going to lose the ball.
Yeah.
And that's down to players. Seamus Coleman talked about players making angles, being courageous to get on the ball. That comes from the manager, and it's not happening.
Yeah, John.
Nothing's happening from the manager in that respect, in a constructive sense. Even, I know it's many years ago to go back to Jack, but even to go back to Trapattoni. Okay, they believed in a longer ball. Definitely Jack did. Trapp did on occasions. You get the ball up, but when you get the ball forward early, it goes in with some kind of quality, and you get players that are going to be around it where it drops. It's going to be your 2 wide players tucking in. It's going to be your 2 central midfield players pushing up, and you're going to have a chance of winning that second ball. The way we're playing at the moment, it's just ball back to them and start again. They start attacking us again. And that's why when you look at the possession stats, you see 70-30 last night, and you see 60-40 in our own backyard in the Aviva against Northern Ireland.
John, that point that Liam's making, and I'm making the same point, that if you were a coach and you looked at us against Northern Ireland and you saw that the back 4 weren't pushing the midfield forward to support the front man, and yet it was obvious again last night. In fact, Phil Babb and John Walters, who were doing the analysis for Sky, both made the point that Liam has just made, and that
Yeah.
now the fact that he didn't address that at all between these two games where he's had the players in camp is a terrible indictment.
Of course it is. It's bad management. Liam made a point about Big Jack and that, which, see, when Big Jack had it and they knocked it forward.
Oh, Jack had a plan. They got up behind it.
Yeah, but they got up behind the ball and they put the teams under pressure.
Exactly.
You see, and what's happened with Martin's team, as we've seen in the last two matches, well, particularly against Denmark, as soon as they get it at the back for Denmark, we're back on their 18-yard line.
Yeah.
Right? So when we get the ball on our 18-yard line, now that's okay in certain cases, Eamon, but once you get it on the 18-yard line, then you should be playing out from there. And everything is connected towards the big. But what we're doing is we're just kicking it out back to them up there. So we never get out of the 18-yard line. When Big Jack played, to be fair, now he had better players, you'd have to mention that as well. That when they did get forward, they put the other team under severe pressure, say from when the goalkeeper kicked it out.
Yeah.
Right? They wouldn't let them out of that. What we're doing at the moment, when we kick it out, we're letting them out. So it's a double whammy. Like Jack put them under pressure from the start. We're letting them out, back to our own 18-yard line again. When we get it, we're kicking it forward, back up to them. And you can't possibly put pressure on the ball. That's the big. Now, obviously, that goes back to the management team. Yeah. If that's what they're doing, then it has to go back to them.
Okay, Liam, I'm going to offer my own view, which is we've hit rock bottom with Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane. Really hit rock bottom. In terms of some kind of shape, some kind of idea of what the team is supposed to be doing, and we need to go and get another coach. Somebody with a record. Stephen Kenny is one person. Mick McCarthy did a good job, got us to the World Cup. Maybe he's another person, but personally I'd favour Kenny. Stephen Kenny, because of the job he's done with Dundalk. We can't go on. I accept your point about beginning a thorough and rigorous analysis of why we're not producing players. That has to happen, but we also have to be ready to play in March. The draw for the Euro qualifiers is on Friday. We're in Pot C, and Holland are in Pot A because they got 2 goals in the last 5 minutes against Germany last night. In Pot B, France and Germany are in there, so we could get either of them. We need to do this, make this change now, in my opinion. I wonder what your opinion is.
No, I wouldn't. You know, but I would. If it was John Delaney, I would sit down with Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane and say, you know, things need to improve in this respect. You know, you need to, and that's really shouldn't be down to a chief executive, but someone's got to talk to them, haven't they? You know,
I don't think
the public are talking with the non-attendance at matches, you know, and that's a real worry. But I don't know.
Can you see it improving? Can you see it improving if they stay?
Well, that's a very difficult one there.
Well, it's actually, I'm not trying to provoke you. I'm not looking for controversy.
He's actually in credit, Martin, what he's done.
Right.
Yeah.
He said that. He said that himself last night. He qualified us.
Well, it's true. It's true, Eamon. It's true, and you have to agree with that. You know, qualifying for the Euros, getting out of the group. Then getting in the playoff in the group where we were 4th seeds, you know, that is a reasonable return.
Right.
You know? I think we enjoyed a little bit of luck on the way. I don't know. What's you tell me? We hear we can't afford to sack them. You know, we can't afford to. Well, if we can't afford to do it, you might as well get on with it. Okay.
Yeah, John is shaking his head, Liam, and he's rolling his eyes, which is never good.
I've seen that before. I've been present when that's happened.
Yeah, well, I'll give you the picture now.
No. Well, the thing in Martin's case, I would agree there was credit in the bank, Eamon.
Yeah.
But when the credit runs out, then you get to a stage.
And when the manager calls you in.
Well, the manager either has to go or say, like the thing is, Alf Ramsey was sacked after winning the World Cup after a few years.
Yeah.
Big Jack was sacked after doing what he did.
Yeah.
Trapattoni was sacked. All managers have a lifespan.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lifespan, and it's.
So do you think
it's a bit futile to go back?
Do you think?
Sorry, I'll just finish. It's futile to managers to say, "Well, Martin qualified." It's what's happening now, Eamon.
Yes.
You know, if I'm looking at it from a cold eye now at the moment, I'd say, I think we should change the management.
Yes.
I can't see it getting any better.
No, I can't. I mean,
and that's my personal opinion at the moment. And I know Martin O'Neill has done. There was credit in the bank because he did what Trapattoni did, what Big Jack did. But it's 5 years. It's had a lifespan. What he did 2 years ago in football, as we know, and it's a cruel game in that way, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? And all the great managers in the past have had a lifespan. They've had great times. Arsene Wenger at Arsenal, for example, you could look back and say, what a manager he was. But at the end of it, the last 2 years, the crowd was shouting for him to get out.
Yeah.
You know, every time has his lifespan. And I think Martin, at the moment, it looks to me that Martin has had his lifespan.
He's past his sell-by date.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd be an advocate for change.
Yeah.
The credit that Liam refers to, notwithstanding, you'd be for change.
Yes.
I'd be for change, Liam, I must say. But I would take the point that credit must be given. But looking at the recent performances, Liam, the last two in particular, they were horror shows.
Yeah, well, you know, I know that, Eamon, but, you know, players were missing. You can make excuses. Players were missing. You can only hope things are going to get better. You're trying to put words in my mouth.
I'm not. No.
I'm not biting. You know, let's see how it goes. It may be that, you know, you guys are proved totally right, and I'll be proved totally wrong. But I think the fact that he's done it once, and again, I will say there's 53 teams trying to qualify, and 24 do, and that gives us a fair chance if we start getting a few goals to go with clean sheets.
Okay, I'm not. I wasn't.
No, me, Liam. I'm only giving my opinion. You're giving your opinion. I hope, like you, that the team does pick up and we qualify for the next. I hope to be proven wrong in that respect, and I'm sure Eamon does as well. But we can only talk about what we can talk about at this particular time, and that would be my view now, and Eamon's view. I know your view is different, but that's not. I don't think Eamon's trying to talk you into it.
No, I'm not.
Just having an honest
I'm
debate.
not, Liam. Actually, I mean, I let's pass that. Let's go. We are going to have Martin. The draw is on Friday. Let's hope we don't get Germany or France, or worse still, get Holland, Germany.
I think O'Neill might say, Eamon, we took 4 points off Germany the last time we were in a group with them.
Yeah, indeed, and we did it with a long ball as well.